What's going on, guys? We have a four-game NFL slate this weekend in the divisional round of the playoffs. In this video, I'll be going through my top player prop picks for all these games. So just one video for the four games, not splitting it up for the 2 days. There's 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. You'll get all of my picks in this video. And trust me, I have a loaded card this week. I'm out for vengeance. Last week, I did not have a profitable week in the wild card round. That moves my record on the season of 13 out of 17 weeks where I've made a profit. I got in the lab, I dug deep on Tuesday. I tried to find the absolute best props that I could, searching through basically every single player prop type there is on Outlier, going through all the trends, going through all the matchups and stuff. I've got a loaded card. I'm pretty confident in it, and hopefully we can make up for last week. But a few reminders before I get into the plays. I actually have a lot I want to talk about before I get into the plays. So if you want to skip ahead, totally fine. But I have a lot of updates for you guys. So a content update for you, just like a schedule for NFL. Obviously, you're getting this video today for the divisional round. For the conference championships, I'll have one video for those 2 games too. That'll also come out probably next Saturday. And then there'll be a break in between that and the Super Bowl. So what am I gonna do to fill the time? Obviously I'll mix in some daily NBA videos with picks and things like that. I want to come out with a couple strategy videos for you guys in the next month, at least one. I actually just started a Substack. So if you don't know what a Substack is, it's a newsletter. It's somewhere where I could post my long form thoughts. It's completely free. So if you want to check that out, I did just release my very first newsletter called The Correct Way to Find Profitable Sports Betting Trends. Basically talking about a lot of the strategies that I use in all these videos to find these plays. Talk about some landmines. It's more NBA focused than it is NFL. I will eventually have like an NFL specific article and like an NBA specific article. I think my next one's going to be tennis because the Australian Open starts this next week. But if you want to check that out or at least subscribe to it so you don't miss the next time I write one of those up, there's going to be a link in the description below where you can give it, go check it out. Like I said, there's really not much out there right there. It's just the one article that I wrote up so far, but about 1,500 words, nice, easy read, and honestly, you're gonna get a lot of inspiration out of it, and hopefully give you a better perspective on how to do some research when it comes to finding good player prop picks. A few other reminders, just like normal. I posted these plays to the VIPs all the way back on Tuesday, so it is possible some of the lines have moved at this point. They've all probably moved at this point. Not sure what the directions are. I'll find that out when I go through the player cards here on Outlier. But the reason for that, it's going to be a lot more drastic this week because there's only 4 games as compared to like a regular NFL slate where there's 16. People are going to bet regardless, whether it's 4 games, 16 games, 20 games, the volume's still going to be there. So when it's concentrated on these 4 games, it's going to see a lot of movement on the player prop side of things. So some of these might be in my favor, some of these might not be in my favor. It doesn't phase me either way, but I just want to make you guys aware, as I'm going through these player cards, that my number that I have might be a yard or two different than what you're seeing on your site as well. But I'll try to break those down for you as I go through the players. If you want to become a VIP, like I said before, I posted these for them all the way back on Tuesday. You can get a 7-day free trial for my VIP by using the link in the description below, or if you see that QR code up in the top right corner of the video, that is actually for that 7-day free trial to be VIP. And what you get with that is, you get all of my plays when I don't post a video. So obviously I do an NFL video every week, but my video for NFL comes out on Saturday. I post my plays all throughout the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So the lines move at that point, but you're also getting like the NBA picks, the tennis, the soccer. You'll get more WNBA when that gets rolling. You just get a lot more picks from me and a lot more personal one-on-one time too. Like I spent a lot of time in that VIP chat in the Discord. If you have any questions, you're obviously going to get the highest priority because you are, subscribed as a VIP, and I'll try to help you guys out as best as I possibly can. But if you don't want to become a VIP, totally fine. At least come join the Discord. The Discord is completely free to join in itself. The link to join is also found in the video description below. And then one other thing before I get into the plays here, just 2 more plugs. I promise I'm not going to talk your ear off with all these plugs, but obviously on the screen here, you're seeing this app. It's outlier.bet. If you want a 7-day free trial for Outlier, link in the description below. And this video is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Play $5, get $75 in bonus cash when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy using code LayTheHouseRM. They have so many good promos. I mean, they have discounts all the time. They give you payout boosts. Like most of my action is on Underdog Fantasy. I think I made like $3,000 in Underdog Fantasy in the last 6 weeks or so. Like it's such a good app. When you compare Underdog and Prize Picks, Underdog generally is a bit better. You're getting better lines for the most part, better payouts. I prefer Underdog over Prize Picks. There are some things on Prize Picks that I prefer over Underdog, but all in all, like if I had to pick one between the other, I would always pick Underdog just because it's just better. Plus, they have all the drafts and stuff. I do a lot of best ball, and that's a lot of fun too. If you wanted to check those out, but anyways, that's enough of me rambling a little bit longer than I normally do. Let's get into the plays. So I'm actually gonna go in sequential order this time. I know last week I actually went opposite, so we'll go in order. So the first bet that I'm on this week is on Dalton Kincaid over 17.5 on the longest reception. He's gone over in 11 out of 13 games this season. Denver allows the ninth most receiving yards to tight ends this year at 59.7 per game. Bills, they're missing so many pass catchers. If we go to injuries here, Gabe Davis is out. Or Shavers, I think, is out. Palmer's out. Curtis Samuel's questionable. Like, they're just a mess, man. I think Kincaid should easily at least get, one or two catches in this one, and hopefully one of them goes for 18 or more yards like he has for most of this year. Let's be honest, like, he's been very streaky. Like, he either gets a ton of action or he gets, like, nothing at all. It's very frustrating to watch, to be honest with you, but he's cashing on this a lot for us this year. I think I was betting it at, like, 19.5 for most of the season, so getting a little bit of a discount here, probably a matchup thing. People are a little afraid of that Denver defense. I do have another prop on Dalton Kincaid too. If you don't want to go with the 17.5, I am going with the alternate line of 9.5 too on Prize Picks. So if you want a parlay filler, and if you want something a little bit more safe, 10-yard catch for Kincaid, 12 out of 13 games this year, 14 out of 16 games last year. Just a really good spot for him. I mean, 10 yards isn't much for him considering all of his catches are basically longer catches. Hang on, give me a quick second for a water break, then we'll keep going. All right. So next play from the same game. This is a first half prop, and something that not many people are going to be betting. I got it at 103.5. It's moved down to 102.5, but it's Josh Allen under 103.5 first half passing yards. He's gone under this number in 13 out of 18 games this year, while 8 out of the last 11 quarterbacks to face the Broncos have gone under this number in the first half. So matchup's very difficult for a quarterback. I get it. This is going against the longest reception for Kincaid, but I just wouldn't use them both on the same slip, obviously, because they're negatively correlated. We're taking an over on Kincaid's yards. We're taking an under on Josh Allen's yards. Take them separate. Just put them in different slips. They both might hit. They both might lose. One might hit. One might hit. One might hit. One might lose. You really don't know. But Josh Allen under 103.5 first half passing yards. This is on DraftKings still. If you want 102.5 on Prize Picks, Underdog, and the score bet, which I don't even know what that is, but numbers not too different. I would take this either way. All right, so that's all my plays for the Bills and the Broncos. Let's move over to the Niners and the Seahawks. We are on Jake Tungus, over 35.5 receiving yards. This line has moved. It's moved up to 36.5, so not really too much more. I like it the same either way. Let me filter for games without George Kittle this year. All right. So we have 6 games this year without George Kittle. Tungus averages 44.8 receiving yards per game. The matchup against Seattle is actually pretty good for tight ends. They're allowing the 6th most receiving yards per game to tight ends this year at 63.5 yards per game. Great spot for Jake Tungus to go over. They've allowed 10 tight ends to go over this number this season as well. So really good spot for Kittle's backup here. I think he's an absolute stud, and I'm excited to take this over. If you want to go with this alternate line, that is one of the parlay fillers that I had of 19.5 over every single time Kittle's been out. It's just a little safer option if you want to combine it with some stuff over on Prize Picks. So like the way I'm doing it is I'm taking this play, the 19.5, and I'm combining it with the Josh Allen 103.5 under. And then on the other side of things, I'm taking the Kincaid alternate line or the Kincaid regular line, and I'm combining it with either his regular line here or this other player in the same game of JSN. over 59.5 receiving yards. This is a parlay filler as well. JSN's gone over this number in 16 out of 17 games this year, while averaging 105.5 yards per game. Just an insane season for JSN, really. The 49ers allow the 11th most receiving yards per game to wide receivers at 149.1 yards per game. They've allowed 17 wide receivers to go for 62 or more yards against them this year, including twice to JSN himself, going 124 yards and 84 yards against them this season. Really good spot for arguably the best, if not the second best wide receiver in the NFL this season. But I'm just on his parlay filler. I'm not on the regular line. We'll go back to some regular lines here. We're going to move to the Sunday games at this point. Like I said before, this video is going to be longer than normal, but I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I rambled for 5 minutes earlier on, but you guys will just have to deal with it. We'll go the 3 o'clock game, which is the Texans and the Patriots. Just one play from that game, and it is Woody Marks. I'm on 58.5 on the under. The line has moved down to 54.5, which is a pretty big change. The reason why I'm on Marks here, though, so you see the chart itself doesn't look great. He's gone under this number about half the time. It's like been a 50-50 split. You know, when Chubb went down, it probably turned into like a 65% win rate for Woody Marks since he's been the lead back. But this is a matchup play for me. The Patriots' run defense was the best run defense in the NFL for the majority of the season. They didn't have their bye week until week 14, and they didn't give up a 50-yard rusher up until like week 12. And I think at that point they were just tired because they didn't have their bye week by that point. So weeks 12, 13, 15, and I think 16, they gave up decent rushing yards. But then week 17 and 18, they really stepped it up again. And then last week in the playoffs, they just completely shut down Amari Hampton and Vidal for 30 combined rushing yards. So this is just a really tough matchup for Woody Marks. On the season, in total, they're allowing the 5th least rushing yards per game to running backs at 77.1 per game. Only 5 running backs on the entire year had more than 58 yards against them this year. And that all came between those weeks 13 and 16 or whatever, 13 and 17, whatever it might be. But I think the Patriots defense is back. I think they're well rested. I think they're amped up. Obviously, no Nico Collins for the Texans as well, which means the Patriots are 3.5 point home favorites still. And honestly, I think that probably should be more towards like 4.5 or 5. Like, I think the Patriots might cruise in this one, which might lead to Woody Marks getting a lot less work than he got last week against the Steelers in a blowout victory. All right, moving on to the final game of the weekend. I have 4 plays on one player for this game. So I'm going to go through these 4 bets that I have on Kyren Williams. The first one is the main one. Over 61.5 rushing yards is the number I got. It's still the same number on PrizePicks. This one actually moved down a little bit on Underdog Fantasy. It's down to 59.5 on most of the books. Maybe it is 59.5 on PrizePicks still, but they do offer, some demons and stuff like that. But basically, he's gone over this number in 14 out of 18 games this season, while 14 running backs have gone for over this number against the Bears this year. The Bears are allowing 104.2 rushing yards per game. There is a rumor of some weather being out there in Chicago. I think the Rams are a better team than the Bears, so if they're winning, Kyron's going to get more work. The other main play that I'm on for Kyren Williams is his first quarter rushing prop. Very similar to, let me pull it up here. Yeah, over in 14 of 18 games and averaging 21.7 rushing yards per game. So just a really good spot for Kyren Williams altogether. If you want to go with the parlay fillers for Kyren, his rushing yards of 39.5, he's gone over in 34 straight games, which is crazy. And then if you want to go with his rush attempts, where are we? Rush attempts. Drop that down to 11.5. 18 out of 18 this year. 18 out of 18 last year. I don't even know what it was the year before, but 36 straight games is good enough for me on a Kyren Williams rush attempts. And considering the weather and, they are favorites and everything, we're not asking for much. Even though it's a 50-50 split with Corum, he's still getting there all year. So Kyren Williams, over 11.5 rush attempts. We're going with over 61.5 or 60.5 rushing yards. We're going with over 39.5 rushing yards. And then we're also going with over 11.5 first quarter rushing yards, which is now 12.5, but that's fine with me too. But anyways, that is it for the weekend. A bunch of plays that I just went through. And like I said, if you are a VIP, you see the write-ups and everything of all these plays, and I posted them earlier on the week. If you want to become a VIP, get that 7-day free trial using the QR code or the link in the description below. Apologies that this video went so long, but I had a lot to talk about, and since I haven't posted a YouTube video all week, I just had to kind of catch you guys up on a few things. Check out the Substack too, though, because I am going to be putting some really good stuff in there that you're not going to want to miss, and all that's going to be completely free too. But appreciate you guys sticking around to the end. If you did, best of luck on your bets this weekend, and thanks for watching.